Call this collective committee meeting in order for September 3rd. We'll start off with the Public Service Committee. Mr. James.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item is a municipal street tree planting policy. The Avon Lake Tree Commission has recommended to the Public Service Committee a tree planting policy to work with homeowners associations on street tree planting by subdivision and or street. The Public Service Committee considered this policy and agreed to recommend it to City Council. My intention is to forward this on to City Council for adoption by the entire council. So we have a street tree planting policy for homeowners associations. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for street tree planting program? Went through public service. Mrs. Campbell.
And I think I asked this before, and forgive me, I don't recall the answer. For residents who live in a neighborhood such as mine where there is no HOA, is that policy changing? Is there a policy?
Mr. James.
I believe there is a policy in place. It's been a long-standing policy for city streets that don't have homeowners associations that would continue to be in effect. And then I'd yield to Mr. Wright if there's anything further.
Mr. Wright.
Yeah, it would be more of a consensus of the neighbors. The tree commission urged it to be an 80% consensus on the street because we wanted it to be, a street-wide program so that it's not just one or two random people. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an HOA, but it can be someone on taking the lead, because we need somebody from one of the residents to take the lead, to go next door, door to door, get the neighbors to sign up to it, because ultimately they're the ones that would, once we order the trees and have the prices, they would be the ones that would have to collect the money from everybody to get a final tree count. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an HOA. In the past, we've done this on just streets within an HOA, but it goes back to the same as many of these other areas where it might not be an HOA, but some representative of the street needs to be in contact with us to work on that.
Further questions? Next item, Mr. James.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next item is the Ohio Department of Transportation Municipal Bridge Inspection Program. The city requires legislation to participate with ODOT for a bridge inspection program for the inspection of our bridges and load readings of our bridges. Given recent situations involving culverts and bridges, I think it's important that the city participate in this. The administration has requested this, and the Public Service Committee agreed to recommend this to City Council. I'm going to forward this to City Council and seek suspension of the rules and emergency provisions for passage on September 9th.
Questions then with the ODOT Municipal Bridge Program with the Public Service, Mr. Wright.
Thank you. The state ODOT has expanded this to include other secondary street bridges and culverts and so forth. So by being a member of this, it does not cost the city any money to participate in it, but by them doing the evaluations, they can have a better inventory of the entire system within our city. So I think it's a good thing because we're in constant contact with ODOT then as these sites get reviewed every year. So I hope that we support this, because I think overall this is a good thing for the city's citizens, because we've got ODOT looking at all these structures.
So, Mr. Wright, so when you say they evaluate it, how often do they evaluate? Yearly, or
This is yearly.
A yearly evaluation?
Yes.
And let the city know?
Yes.
Okay. And further questions? Next item, Mr. James.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item is a resolution of no interest for 31944 Lake Road. The administration has reviewed this request and indicated that the city does not have an interest in this property. The Public Service Committee agreed to recommend to City Council providing the resolution. My intention is to forward this on to City Council and to seek suspension of the rules and emergency provisions so the residents at 31944 can begin construction while there still is time to conduct construction in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions for the resolution, no interest at 31944 Lake Road. Next item.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The next item is a professional services agreement with K.E. McCartney Associates for inspection in bridge construction. This is necessary for replacement of the culvert here in the city. The proposal from the administration is a contract not to exceed $46,640. Public Service Committee considered this and agreed to recommend this to City Council. Given the need to inspect the bridge construction here immediately, I am also going to request suspension of the rules and emergency approval at the next sitting of City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions dealing with the professional service contract for bridge inspection with K.E. McCartney and Associates. Senator Bosch.
Yes, I have a question. We have two culverts that we're working on right now. Which one is this one for?
Mr. Wright,
This is for the Moore Road culvert.
Thank you very much.
further questions? Any other items, Mr. James?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. No other committee items? I will go to legislation. We have one item. Second reading of temporary legislation 11,299, authorizing the donation of unclaimed property in the police department. Any questions on that? That concludes the legislation portion, and we go to any other announcements. Mayor?
Thank you. Several things piled up here. We have two young men in the community, Brian Sabin and Emery Copen, who are starting an effort to totally rebuild the Avon Lake Play Space, or ALPS. It was constructed 25 years ago. Mr. Copen and Mr. Sabin were at one of the concerts, and they saw the condition of the play space. And it had been built with the expectation of lasting 20 years, and it's been 25. They are very enthusiastic about rebuilding ALPS, and they have grand plans, and their plans grew and grew and grew. And they are having a meeting at 6 o'clock on Thursday, Avon Lake Public Library, and they would like people to attend. They both of them have children of an age that would enjoy and use the play space. They are hoping for a big crowd, and they have goals to raising $500,000 for this effort over 2 years, believe it or not. And I'm very pleased that one of the wonderful parts of the meeting we had with Friends of the Parks, which is, by the way, why Friends of the Parks was founded. Ruth Boer and Mrs. Hugic, I think was her name, founded Friends of the Parks for the original Avon Lake Play Space. So we're doing full circle now. They're going to be under the Friends of the Parks 501c3. They're going to be doing fundraising and going all out to get monies together. Their first donation of about $19,000 came from the surplus revenues from the bicentennial. So all of this is donated money from people throughout the community, a lot of businesses and residents. The surplus money is going for that particular purpose. So I would encourage people to attend. It should be very interesting. Next Monday at 7 p.m., after the HR meeting and before the City Council meeting, we are going to have a ribbon cutting for the gazebo at Veterans Park. So those who are interested can walk down to the lake. We built that time around the schedules of Senator and Representative Manning, so they will be here, and I think that will be something that would be enjoyed. One of our employees around 4:15 walked outside to get something from her car and saw a stopped school bus with the red blinking lights being passed by a car almost in front of City Hall. Just came flying by. So, obviously we have a need. We know that the legislation is going to automatically stop this, but along with step 2, Mr. Koss, which would be the cameras on the buses, we can get a hold of the license numbers, we can enforce this. This is just amazing. It's just incredible. And lastly, very sadly, Kay Usher, a member of our community for many years, I think she was 96 years old, passed away over the weekend. Mrs. Usher was on the school board, I think, for 12 years, and therefore she was my boss for a period of time. And she was active in the League of Women Voters and participated in and organized the early debates that we had for various candidates and forums for issues. So she will be missed. She was an outstanding individual of high standard. She was a World War II veteran. She served in World War II and did it proudly and was proud to stand among all the men who also served. So she was just a great lady, and we will miss her presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other announcements? Mr. Koss?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Council President. Just an announcement. It's that time of the year again, And the Boo by the Woods and the Trail of Haunted Tales is coming up. This year's event will be held on Saturday, October the 19th, and the times for the event will be 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. And notice the 2-hour head start time at 4 rather than the traditional 6, what we've done before. We will be putting more tickets on sale for this event. Tickets will go on sale for the Haunted Trail, which requires a ticket. And those tickets will go on sale next Tuesday, September the 10th at 9 a.m. and they can be purchased online on the Avon Lake Park and Rec website. I'll announce this again next Monday. But I encourage people not to wait. Last year we sold 1,200 tickets in just a little over an hour or so. So I encourage people to not procrastinate and go ahead and get your tickets purchased as soon as you can, because that day will be here before you know it. But Saturday, October 19th, and tickets are required for the Haunted Trail portion. Those go on sale next Tuesday, the 10th at 9. And just a reminder that all of the other Boo by the Woods activities do not require a ticket. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor?
Could I ask Mr. Cost a question?
Sure.
Councilman Cost, is there a limit of how many tickets people can purchase? Are you trying to make sure these get distributed through a larger group of people?
You know, that's a good question. I know in the past we had discussed putting a limit, but I don't know if we did or not because it wasn't terribly abused. But I will have that answer next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Or next Monday. I apologize.
Further announcements anyone has? Okay. With that, meeting's adjourned.